Hello and welcome to AV Growth podcast. If you're a new listener or watcher, AV Growth is a growth program between Finland, Sweden, Latvia and Estonia, funded by the Central Baltic Interreg program. This program is organized together with Tampere University of Applied Sciences and Swedish Yrkesnämnet for Film and TV and Film Tampere Film Commission from Finland. I'm very excited to have you here and more excited about our amazing guests. Today we had the fourth workshop of AV Growth and we tackled themes like pitching, presenting and film financing. And we just wrapped the last day of AV Growth Workshop 4 in Helsinki. But without further ado, I'm Fanni Heinonen, the Program Director of Film Tampere, and my guests are amazing producers and representative of a new financing tool and collaborator from Sweden. But gentlemen, I'll let you introduce yourself. So let's start with our guests from Sweden. So Oscar, please, who are you and what got you here?
Sure. Hello, my name is Oscar and I'm the CEO of Framesage. We are a company that stands in between the financing the finance industry and the film industry. And we try to bridge the void through building a common language which film producers can use to talk to financiers and for financiers to understand the film industry in a better way. In this way, we hope to open up a new channel of financing through private investors to the film industry.
Super. That kind of startup is really much needed. Let's stay in Sweden for a little while. Daniel, who are you and what got you here?
Okay, so I'm Daniel. I'm CEO of Camera X, actually a Danish-Swedish production company. We do commercials, TV series, fiction, film, and documentary work. And what got me here? Well, I was recommended by a friend and applied, and then we decided, okay, this is sounds really, really great. And we jumped into it because I felt it was not only like a few months, but this is actually a really extensive program. So, and that requires also, what do you call it? Like engagement and, expectations that we can live up to.
Super. And then Finland representative, Antti, who are you and what got you here?
Hey, my name is Antti Kairakari. I'm a creative producer in Whatever Pictures. Whatever Pictures is a brand new company formed when Whatever Group and Mutant Koala Pictures merged. We're launching our company now on FFA this week, tomorrow. I'm really happy to participate in the AV Growth Program. I think it's a great way to learn about the reality of producing landscape in neighboring countries, and always good to test your ideas with your peers.
Super. And just to clarify, Daniel and Antti are representing companies that are part of the program. They got in last year when we kicked off the program, and Oscar is here representing a partner of AV Growth, and they just gave a kick-ass workshop session so that those of you who are not familiar with AV Growth and how we operate. We have now 29 company actually on board, and the program is about to last until 2027. Now I got it right, so 3 years program. Okay, but let's talk a little bit about the workshop today. It was the fourth workshop for you. So Daniel, Antti, I'm looking at you. What are your thoughts, and is there anything specific you want to point out? Let's start with Daniel.
Yeah, is it regarding about the fourth workshop or like?
In total, these both days.
Okay. I've been longing to meet my friends and colleagues actually, and I think this is one of the great experiences that is not a short one. Actually, we can invest not only like, as you say, Antti, sharing ideas and being vulnerable, but also strengthening a network. And I think the network is basically the spider web and that everything holds together. And I think I only talk to my friends or here in the workshop says we're gonna be so sad when this is over. We're gonna be. Can we extend this somehow? Do we need some funding to continue this? So it's not only knowledge, but I think relationships is like something that I've been longing to feel and work with.
Likewise, amazing. And that comment wasn't paid, but interact. Antti, thoughts, feelings, or anything specific you want to point out?
Well, the idea that we have created a space where it's safe to pitch ideas or ask stupid questions without any barriers on where should I be or where should I be with my project or where should I be professionally. There's a mutual respect and someone knows always, which is true everywhere. Someone knows better than you. Just ask your questions, participate, give your answers. Also, that you can actually share your knowledge and you find that you have value, or this has also proven to me that my views and my visions have got value on the eyes of my peers, which is very empowering and inspiring.
I think you really pointed out a super important thing about AV Growth, that it's very community driven, and the culture and the atmosphere is very safe and psychologically something you are brave enough to lean into, and so on. Yeah. So we started this fourth workshop with a pitching session with Elsa Ervasti, who is a acclaimed creative industry pitching coach. And then we moved to sales and negotiation techniques and insights with Outi Stuper from Sitomo. And this morning, we went crazy and wild with the concept of IP Clinic together with Storytel and SC Helen. Before I will ask feelings and insight from Oscar about their last session, any thoughts about those sessions? Did they give any new perspectives to you, or did they spark something inside of you, or?
Well, yes and no. I think it's always good. It's always good to go back to basics. We have half a day for sales, and that's a thing that we do every day, and we figure out every day. We train ourselves with it. But it's really good to go back to basics and again realize something that, oh yeah, I haven't thought about that in weeks or years, or I think it gives you perspective on your own processes. So or with the IPs, SLN's enthusiasm with the audio format was really exciting. At first there was a is this for me? Kind of hesitation. Yeah. But when you get to listen to someone who believes in her project so fiercely, it does give you an idea that maybe it would make sense, and you start to process. So the thing that you start to process is, I think, the key element.
Daniel, anything to add?
Yeah, I think there's a, what do you call it, like a diversity of matureness in those different companies in the growth program, and our company is we're growing. There are some, I would say, big sisters and big brothers in terms of maturity. So we're learning, and for us, we're learning so much. We know some stuff from before, but also hearing from some other markets and other eyes, we can see some correlations similarities, the way you approach businesses or work with numbers now with FrameSage. And I think if we look at FrameSage, I would say that working with the numbers are really sobering at times, especially if you're working with creative projects like dreaming away, but something you need to anchor it somehow. And especially when we talk it to investors from the private side, then you need to have something more concrete. And can this ship fly?
That's for sure. Well, Oscar, we had the session with FrameSage about pitching with numbers. What are your feelings right now? It was very hands-on, and I think that intensive also partly. But thoughts, feelings.
Yeah, no, it was really fun to host a workshop, and I think that the operations that you got going with AV Growth is really good. The focus areas around sales, financing, and those types of aspects of being an entrepreneur, being a producer or an owner of a company, you can never get good enough on those things, right? It's always something that you have to always develop and always stay on top on. So I think it's a really cool it's a really good format that you've created with these workshops for this industry.
Yes.
Obviously, we come from the financing side, so it was really fun to host a whole workshop with so many good and talented creatives. It's coming from the finance industries. It's always good to get sort of hands-on questions and very, very practical questions from people that have a completely different background, and it gets you, or it's a very good way for us to iterate on our ideas and to how we communicate and how we explain what we do to creators. So that was really fun.
Super. Yeah, great to hear. Let's talk about a little bit about the current landscape in film industry, and especially in Finland and Sweden. We're now in September 23rd, if I recall. So those of you who are aware of the context, we are living in a very controversial and uncomfortable times, especially now in Finland, knowing the suggestions that have been handed out from the government about the suggestions for the cuts towards Ministry of Culture and so on. We're not going to dive into those figures, but I think we should talk a little bit about the landscape that has transformed within the Nordics. So let's start with you, Antti, a Finnish producer. How does the current landscape in the film industry look like for you?
I don't know how to put this in other way, but the government made unreasonable decision to kill half of the Finnish film productions. So without them going back to drawing table and withdrawing the idea, we're going to face a huge crisis. If we move past that and look into a bigger picture, we're actually living in an era where Finnish films are gaining international traction way more than ever before. We're in the brink of great international breakthroughs in multiple genres and areas. And it's exciting what's happening. With both in the art house genre, like European art house genre, but also with likes of Sisu, which are finally we're having films that can enter the US market, and that's super cool. super inspiring, and we can actually it's more and more what it's supposed to be, which is both art and industry. It doesn't need to be the same thing on every movie. It's a diverse playground. But so if we look past the stupidity that's going on into a bigger picture, we were going into a very good place and situation. So let's just hope we get this reversed, so we can continue on a great path. Also, the international scene, where what AI will bring for us, the possibilities, what Korean and Spanish language programs have already created worldwide, which is that your language doesn't matter anymore. Not in that sense what it used to be, which is awesome for us. We can expect to break through with Swedish or Finnish content in international market, and that's super exciting.
Yeah, so there are two kind of realities, if I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
The short-term outcome and the long-term outcome.
Yeah, well, let's hope we are not killed. If we are
before the long term.
yeah.
And this is ironic laugh, by the way, for for people listening. Yeah.
But and also the rise of different financing possibilities. As we all are more international, we are not dependent on our national finances. We can also reach for foreign markets with our international ideas. The market is not totally ripe for that, but there's a lot going on that we could play with.
Lots of opportunities unfold.
Yeah.
Unfold opportunities. Daniel, in Sweden, how would you put it in a nutshell? How is the landscape looking like?
Yeah, I mean, we can look from our perspective. We're a young company, seen in the eyes of established. But the political landscape was changed. And what is happening is that there have been cuts in the institute, and they have centralized a little bit more of the money. Their aim is to create more, or have less films but more qualitative films. That's what was said, and that creates frustration from young upcoming directors and filmmakers that really won't have a chance. So we haven't really seen the effect of it. But for us, for example, we're having this project is never ending, and it's being a tough fight with the institute. At the same time, we have a new one upcoming super fast, a little project that is a little bit joker, and we're deciding actually to take that off the system and go independent. It's internationally funded from USA. I think that might be something that could there are some other ways to do it. Because we're a small company, we can move fast. I mean, and we take that opportunity. We see our colleagues also really frustrated to get projects through the system. So there's creativity. People are making films, and I think where there's a will, there's a way, they say. And at the same time, there are people that have been out of the system. They couldn't make it, so they have left the film business. But it will. We're finding new ways to see these films. And as you say, Antti, maybe there are some barriers being broken in terms of language. There's a human perspective at the end of it. So it doesn't matter if you're from Korea or from Finland or Sweden. You can relate to some human struggles, and I think we have seen that during cinema, and from the beginning actually. So, but I'm optimistic and have the same energy regardless of what the government does or do. Yeah.
Yeah, someone running AB Crowd labeled program. I think I have no other options than be optimistic. No. Of course, I like that you, Antti, mentioned about the diversity and the bigger picture and maybe the long-term outcomes, because the thing is that we will lack of a little bit of diversity and a little bit of young, fresh filmmakers, maybe for a while, because usually when it's about public money and decisions that are made in institutions, they tend to favor talents who have a rocking track record. And of course, if you're a newcomer, how could you have one? But still, there are a lot of ways to finance your film, a lot of ways to recruit the talents. Maybe all of the talents do not exist within a film industry. They can be outside of the industry and help the ecosystem to survive. Let's use that word. But Oscar, at a glance, it shows that FrameSage is in a way giving a solution to this problem that Europe and Nordics are so dependent on public fundings and institutions. So what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think you're completely right. That like the governments are slimming down their budgets for these types of productions, and I think that the system that that many companies have had to navigate for so many years and have had quite a lot of power in the industry is getting dismantled a little bit, which is bad in the short term because we'll see fewer productions. But I think in the long term, I've also talked, so over the last 12 months, I've talked to a lot of producers, and a lot of them, especially smaller producers, are very happy about the prospect of FrameSage bringing a new sort of way to finance films, because then you don't have to sort of put your project into the boundaries of the system. You can go exactly as crazy as you want to, as long as you can find the cash. And I think that is sort of what will happen in the European scene in the coming years. I think we will see smaller budgets. I would think we will see privately financed projects. And I think we will see a project with financing from a lot of different countries, where it's more of a patchwork even for smaller productions that we see for large productions that have 20 million, 30 million euro budgets. That it's a patchwork from different countries, different banks involved, loans, and so on and so forth. As a company trying to enter the space within film financing, I think we have found sort of a way to help companies that are pursuing this. Smaller budgets, more audience-focused storylines. So in connection to what you said a little bit earlier, that maybe the talent that we're looking for is outside of the film industry right now. I think we will see marketing people and influencers and so on getting more attached to productions from the get-go, because we need to find a strong audience grip from the beginning. And I think it's a very exciting prospect, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for people who are sort of able and wanting to explore these new ways. But it is a little bit of a tough period for sure.
Definitely. If you could put in 1 to 2 sentences, what should a producer, let's say Nordic producer from Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway, what should a producer understand right now? Let's. Antti. Just shortly, at least what to understand, not to give a solution to a very complex problem, but at least like.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to realize and understand that we're working in like multinational, international world.
Good point.
Like it's there. We need to love it. Not just accept, but actually
embrace it.
Embrace
really.
it. Yeah. And the other thing is the already boring AI, how it's going to change our way of producing. Probably in very interesting ways. It will do it anyway. So let's play along. Those two things, AI and the go out.
Yeah, international market.
Yeah,
We have a universal product.
Yeah. And that it can, the old truth about being local to, being local to sell global. The stories that are hyper local can be, the audience can be super global. We shouldn't try. Maybe we shouldn't try to compete with Hollywood with their guns, because we have such a diverse and interesting and cool stories around us that can do the same impact.
Yeah, definitely. So horrific. Talking about guns, even it was a metaphor, but now living in this time and this climate. Yeah, get it. In a nutshell, Daniel, anything to add to international market and artificial intelligence?
No, okay. So this one thing that I see some producers are not grasping is that the technology is getting cheaper. You can actually do quite high-end productions with low cost, and that is term of the cameras are so small, is insane that what you can do. You can't really see a difference between a prosumer camera and a high-end cinema camera. So there's a crisis, I know, in cinema consumers. That means that if you understand that and embrace also AI technologies, you can actually make something that is high-end but still low cost. Embrace new technologies, maybe guerrilla filmmaking. Not be afraid of okay, we need to do the big truck again and it's going to cost this. Maybe, okay, be open-minded to what's going on, because the technology is really moving so fast that sometimes we don't really understand. So open-minded, experimental, I would say. Especially in these times that we're okay, do we really need $40-50 million to make this film? Maybe not. What should we prioritize? But yeah, otherwise, Antti, you said it really well. I mean, for AI and international, because there's a longing for international corporations, and I met people from Global South, Middle East, and they're also looking for ways to fund their stuff. And how can we collaborate with Scandinavia? Their systems are not compatible at the time, so everyone is running around with a lot of questions. How do we do it? Hopefully, there are some projects right now that are over the borders, over outside Europe as well. Hopefully, we can see that.
Yeah,
You probably also.
Oscar, briefly, what should a producer understand right now from your perspective?
I think that leaning into the opportunities that come out of this difficult time will yield results. And I think focusing a lot on a niche demographic will bring sort of long-term value for producers. Start with a demographic and audience that has a key interest or a niched view of life, and build a story from that, or take a story and attach it to that group. Start in that end, and then, as Daniel said, lean into technology, focus on what's important. Where can we maybe utilize AI? What is important for this audience that we focus on? and then we can bring production costs down and probably distribution up.
Good points, very good points. When we were writing this project application for AV Growth, obviously one of the North Stars or goals was to build a stronger Nordic, stronger audiovisual industry within the Nordics. And happily we now have also Estonian and Latvia in this coordinated goal, to say so. So talking about Finland and Sweden, which are the focus countries in AV Growth, how could the cooperation between Finland and Sweden in the film industry be strengthened and modernized? So big question, but from industry perspective and of course your own current perspective, what could be done, or is there anything AV Growth is already helping you to do, or any thoughts on that? Antti,
Maybe.
Yeah.
The key is
like 30 minutes. 30-second answers.
Maybe the key is that me and Daniel we sit down and think beyond Sweden and Finland. What I've learned is that when I have a project that would be half Swedish, it doesn't fly because it comes from Finland. It just doesn't fly because it comes from Finland.
Okay.
So maybe the idea, because we do share big parts of culture, and I speak Swedish and so on. Maybe the idea would be that together we can take over Germany.
Yeah. So create a common enemy. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, we're about to run out of time, but I really want to hear the answers from both of you, Oscar and Daniel. So, a couple of concrete thoughts, or at least don'ts, like do's and don'ts, if you look at it that perspective.
Okay, I would say that I think that cultural understanding is one thing. What kind of stories are we making? But I think maybe there should be a system that facilitates or give incentives to, have the collaboration even, smoother. I don't know. Could it be political? Could it be mutual fun? I don't know. Whatever. Can the Nordics or the Baltics pitch in with a huge lot of money and say, okay, here, make films team, and go together and pitch to the broadcasters.
But we have such a good base. I mean, AV Growth, and then we have FrameSage helping us with the private funding, and then we have the super efficient incentives in Finland. So we have all the ingredients and the very good grit that we have in Latvia and Estonia. I've heard that they are very super good in delivering production services and so on. But yeah, jokes aside, Oscar, how do you see Finland and Sweden? How could these two countries work better?
From a film financing perspective, I think it's quite obvious. We are structuring slates. We want productions from both countries because it provides a very good diversification, and we want from many countries. So that from that side, it's quite obvious. I think on a production side, I think talent sourcing is getting very, very global. So just looking beyond borders and not looking at, okay, we are a Swedish production company, we must recruit Swedish people. Looking beyond borders and saying, okay, where can I find the best talent, and then recruiting those.
Yeah, and just a reminder that Yrkesnämnden for Film and TV is actually right now designing a crew call application to help producers in recruiting talented film crews and artists, and also creating these micro credentials to help producers and employers to identify your talent, and with that help to help with the gap with the let's say freelancer and a production company to find each other. But it's time to wrap up. We will have the next workshop in Sweden next year, which I'm very much looking forward, and also the project partners, and I'm pretty sure you as well. Is there anything you'd like to add or comment, Daniel and Antti, and then I will ask the last question from you, Oscar, but anything specific? You're heading to the Finnish Film Affair.
Yeah.
Aren't you? Yeah, the greatest Finnish export industry event.
Cool. It's just good. No, I'm really excited about this week in Helsinki, and and this evening because I get to speak with Daniel again, and we share a drink and dream on. Let's keep dreaming.
Let's keep dreaming, Daniel.
I would say that there's a lot of collaboration, and you invest in actually the people here. I mean, we can already see there are some collaborations, emerging.
There are,
and I think it's about us giving us time to get to know each other as well. What are our strengths and how can I work with Antti?
And learning the cultures and learning the ways. Yeah.
Because that will open some gaps that maybe were there before, and who knows in what was 27 or when we finish this, what kind
the
of
baby is born.
Exactly. There's something,
Definitely. Last seconds, Oscar. If there is a producer listening this and thinking about the frame stage, okay, how do I start? So where could they find more information about frame stage?
Go to our website framestage.com. In there you will find all of the material on how we evaluate films and how we put them into a slate and what that means from a financing perspective. That's a go-to point.
Yes, amazing. Thank you so much for the great workshop days and the best Finnish Film Affair, and have a nice fall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.